their head stuck in there. They can pull them back, but it's kind of funny. They get desperate for food and they get their head jammed in there.
Oh, that's their tongues.
And then when I go home, I just put them where they live and open their door, and they're good.
Oh, okay, cool. So this is just food for them. I mean, they can't. I mean, they have to go get pollen and stuff to make honey, right?
No, pollen has nothing to do with honey. This is pollen right here,
Oh, okay.
and this is honey. That's their protein, and this is their carbohydrates.
Oh, okay.
So this weighs 2 pounds, and for them to make this jar of honey, don't ever forget this. They had to visit 2 million flowers, and fly 55,000 miles for each one jar of honey.
Oh, wow.
55.
They could extrapolate that from the size of the honey stomach of a bee. They can say, okay, they can fly up to 5 miles, but let's say average it 2.5, 3 miles. So they average that, the capacity of the bee honey stomach, and just figure out how long it would take and how many flowers they have to visit. So when they visit a flower,
There's tongues.
there's when the bee flies through the air, she has an electrical charge on it. When she lands on a flower, the flower and the nectar has an electrical charge too, and she diffuses that. So that's why you don't, when a bee visits and takes the nectar out, you don't see a whole lot of bees going to that flower. They'll kind of land on it and say, okay, that one's, there's no electrical charge, I'm going to the next one. So it's like you and I, we wouldn't stand in front of a restaurant with a close sign on it waiting for dinner to be served.
Yeah.
We'd say, okay, we're going down the street.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Oh.
Oh.
Where's their
She's
That's
in there
in
somewhere.
tongues?
I'll show you a picture of her. She's longer than the
How
others.
they eat the sugar water right there.
Let's see if I can get a picture of her here.
so 55,000?
Well, the only babies would be, here's a picture of the queen bee.
Oh my.
So when they hatch out, they're the same size as all the other adults, and they go to work right away. They chew their way out face first and start to work. And so what happens is, these are the larvae that they're feeding, these little white grubs. And when they're just at the right time, they cap it over with wax. These are capped over with wax. So they're in there pupating, and they turn into a white version of a honeybee. And then they get the hard exoskeleton, the wings and everything else hardens. And then when they're ready to hatch out, they chew their way out face first and go to work.
Wow. Just wanting some sugar water.
That's really cool.
So
if you left this off for a while, would they start kind of freaking out?
No, they'd probably go in there and start eating some of the things they've stored. Now this is a neighborhood bee, and since there's hardly any nectar out this time of year, most of the flowers have gone. All the restaurants are shut down for them. She smells this sugar water, and she's trying to get in there. So let me try something while I got you here. I tried this earlier. I got this Meta honey. I'm gonna stick it under her nose and see if she goes on my finger. The last one I tried that with didn't. She says, I'll just do what I'm doing here. Come on, Loretta. Get up there. Come on. There she is. So she goes to my spill, but she doesn't go to my finger.
That's funny.
And when you see her abdomen pulsating, they're breathing. When I saw that when I was a little kid, I thought they were pumping up their sting muscle. Yeah.
Oh.
I said, oh my God, she's coming after me.
Yeah.
But all they're doing is breathing.
Oh, cool. So she's just a different hive, kind of.
Yeah. So they're doing the waggle dance back there. So some bee was over here and said, oh my gosh, there's this
That has.
this guy just sitting in a chair. He doesn't do anything.
But he's got food.
He's got food. And they do the waggle dance. Let me see if I can get her over here so you can see her on my finger. Come on. Look at last week I did this and I had a few of them on my finger.
So the best thing for me to do when I freak out when there's a bee on me is
Not freak out.
nothing or shake it.
Nothing.
Or,
Just do
okay.
nothing. So, for example, if you're in your flower garden and bees are flying around,
They're not interested in.
they're not.
us.
But if you want to, you could ease your way into the same dynamic I'm doing. You could have a little stick, put some little honey on the top of the stick. They'd find it and start drinking it. And then when you got used to having them coming around, you could put some on your finger and put it next to the stick, and you could see them eat off your finger.
Oh wow.
So,
So does that one have a stinger?
they all have stingers. Yeah.
Okay. Just
But-
the ones. Are they the drones that don't have
The
stingers?
drones are
Okay.
pathetic. Necessary, absolutely necessary. But
Okay. What do
pathetic.
the drones do again?
Yeah, all they mate with is virgin queens.
Oh. Okay.
So the drone eyeballs and the drone antennae and the queen eyeballs and the queen antennae have many more sensors on them because they've got to find themselves up in the sky.
Oh.
The worker bees, flower hive, flower hive, flower hive.
Okay.
So they don't have that many receptors. Also, when the worker bee hatches out, they do a orientation flight in front of the hive. And they smaller circles, bigger circles, so they're programming their brains, the size of a sesame seed, programming their brains into things that they can see to locate their hive.
Is this
They're-
wax?
Yeah, it's melted wax. And so each hive has a pheromone smell of its queen. So they locate the hive, and if there's 10 hives or 100 hives, they can locate their hive by the smell, by the scent of the hive. But they get to that thing. But if I move the hive, they can reprogram themselves. All the bees, they'll go out, they'll do another orientation flight, realizing they're in a different spot, and start all over again.
Wow.
Okay. So the bees make the honey to feed the
It's their carbohydrates.
larvae.
Yeah.
Or- okay.
And feed each other, it's their, and the queen.
Okay.
For the
Yeah.
winter.
Okay.
What do you think they make the wax out of? Or do we go over that lesson yet?
No,
Yeah. Let's hear that.
So they use their all the worker bees. I'll pass this chunk of wax around. Some little kid was squishing them,
Oh.
but they build the wax comb for cells for the queen to lay eggs in,
Okay.
and for them to store pollen and honey.
Okay.
So when they come back to the hive and they've all got honey stomachs full, the hive will say, "We have plenty of honey. We need more wax comb built so the queen can lay eggs and we can store more honey."
Oh.
So the worker bees flip a switch and they have the honey stomach full, and they all have slits in their side. And they'll turn the honey in their honey stomachs into wax flakes.
What?
Yeah, move them up to their mouths, chew them and soften them, and they'll build that with their jaws and their front legs.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So their carbohydrates is their building material. It'd be like if I ate a bunch of French fries, and then later that night, I had 2x4s coming out from my ribs, and I built a shed.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy for hire, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Just keep them in French fries. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so
That's
cool.
really cool.
Okay, so are they
I'm gonna become a bee.
like that bee that just came around?
Yeah.
Would that bee be allowed to go into this hive?
Great question. They all
would
have a
attack
different
it,
scent. That bee has a scent of her queen. If she was showing up, and let's say, usually they have guard bees at the front door that taste their antennae.
Yeah.
Say, okay, it'll belong here. However, if it's this time of year and there's not a lot of nectar, and she's got a belly full of honey,
They'll let her.
Kind of like if I showed up at your place with a 6-pack of beer and you didn't know me, you'd say, okay, come on in. You got 15 minutes and then have to get out. That's about it. They'll let them come in there.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
And what would she
Interesting.
do with her honey? Would she?
She'd kind of go into and do the same thing. She would pass it on to the nurse bee.
Huh.
So they empty here it is. So here's a forage bee emptying her honey from her honey stomach into the mouth and the honey and the stomach of a nurse bee.
Wow.
So she'll do that. It's like mid-flight refueling, but they're not flying.
Yeah. Huh.
And then she'll turn around and go back to the flowers and do that
Okay.
again.
So why would a bee from another hive want to enter? Because I mean,
what's
what does
the
she
point?
get out of
Idle
it?
curiosity, kind of okay, distracted. I think I'm around here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Close enough. I'm
Yeah.
next door. Hey, I'm next door. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys. Or next
Bring
What's
in
your-
neighborly
Yeah.
cookies.
What's your queen like?
So what is this big, huge, nasty looking?
That's a yellow jacket.
Oh, okay.
And
Upside down.
she was looking for a place to start a nest. So she's a queen, fertilized queen. They mate in the fall over winter, and in the spring they build those paper mache nests.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And that's why she's so big. The worker bees, the hornets aren't the queen, are smaller than this. But she was trying to set up a shop in my home, so I hit her with a fly swatter. And I brought her in to show you the difference between a honeybee and
Yeah.
a yellow jacket.
Oh, yeah, so I really don't want that to land on me.
No, and they give honeybees a bad name because they sting and bite, and this time of year is when they come after you.
And it's a yellow jacket or what?
Yeah.
It's a different kind of hornet. It's called a bald-faced hornet. It has like a big ivory head in the front.
So what is the difference between a yellow jacket and a hornet?
They're
the same?
hornet.
Okay.
This is a hornet, but it's a bald-faced hornet because it has that ivory face.
Okay. And a yellow jacket's the same?
Yeah.
So yellow jacket, hornet, and wasp.
Yeah, wasps.
They're all the same?
That's why. No, wasps
Kinda.
are different.
That's are smaller.
Think of wasps. Think of the expression "wasp-waisted." Back in the day when women wear corsets to have wasp waist,
Okay.
it's named after wasps.
Oh,
So it'd
okay.
be real tiny.
Yeah. Okay.
They're smaller.
All right.
They're like thin.
All right.
Got
And that was
that little thing that goes down to the bowl.
Yeah.
The
Like a
dangly legs.
thread. Yeah, dangly legs. Good
So
observation.
why is that wasp?
that's just what it
That's
is.
just what.
Oh yeah, ask about that.
Did you ever have
What's
issues with
waist or
the
whatever?
or did you ever encounter
The killer
Japanese
hornet?
the killer hornets?
No, they're up by British Columbia, and
Yeah, I was
they
gonna say
put
that.
out tests, bait attractants to get them. So if they can get the queen, like I did, before she builds up a nest, they're ahead of the curve. If they miss the queens, she can set up shop, and they can
Destroy.
set up 500 other nests.
Wow. Do you know any updates on that? Do you
Haven't
think?
heard any for a few months. No.
Yeah, I heard they were coming down.
Hopefully.
Have you heard of a tarantula hawk? That's a type of wasp that